Aloha, shalom. I am here to do the final quarter reading, final quarter activation reading, which means that we've been through the whole monthly cycle now. The full moon was last week, so we came to the fullness of the vision or the picture of what this month was really about. And now, since that full moon has occurred, we've done the integrating of that picture, really letting the message of the month sink in. And so now we're concluding the cycle. Now we are finishing up that cycle, and next week we will begin a new one. So this is like the in-between stage right now, as I like to call it, as we wrap up the old and prepare for the new. So to be honest with you, while I'm shuffling, I'll just tell you guys a little bit about how I'm feeling about these readings. It's good to see you guys tuning in. I've been feeling really just drained as far as tarot and doing the readings. I have not been inspired to do private readings or even do much reading for myself. I almost didn't come on today to do this. And I kind of like that, you know, that element of surprise. You don't know exactly when I'm going to come on and do the readings. Heck, you don't even know if I'm actually going to do the readings. Although I think I only skipped maybe one in the last couple of years. So most likely I'll be continuing these, but I do give myself that space to allow myself to change my mind. If I'm not feeling inspired, if I really truly am not feeling inspired, I will not come on to do the reading. And I felt like I was almost there today, but here I am. Here I am. I have enough inspiration to be here to do this with you guys, and really that inspiration is you, because I really love connecting with you guys, holding myself accountable to do this, because it's not just for me. I know that there are some of you that tune into every single reading, and that means a lot to me. Helps me to stay on track with this and remember that there are lessons in it for the one. That includes myself. And so I'm curious to see what the cards are going to say today after this interesting up and down roller coaster of being inspired and then not. So while I'm shuffling, go ahead and ask your busiest thoughts to take a seat. Those thoughts or feelings that you've been carrying that you just haven't been able to let go of, just ask them to take a seat for a moment, just so that we can create a space for the answers to come in, because if we keep asking, we can't listen, we can't receive the answer if we just keep asking. So go ahead and create a space how you know how to do that best. And then when you're ready, go ahead and connect to the deck however you choose to do so. You can see a thread of light going from your third eye to the deck, or a rainbow bridge from your heart to the deck, or whatever you want to do to connect. And I'm thanking the archetypes, the faces of the one, in advance for showing us what it is that we're sealing up and leaving behind in the past, the work that we've been doing, which we are now closing up, to create a space for the new, what is to come. Thank you for giving us some direction, some clarity, providing an activation map for us to move ahead with the most grace and the most ease, without crisis. So what has this month been about? And what are we going to leave behind with it? What is a little hint of the future and what is to come for the new moon next week, as we're preparing to step into Scorpio, to step out of Libra and into Scorpio. Halloween coming, energy shifting, changing. What's the challenge as we move through this in-between stage of closing up the old and beginning the new? And who is our ally as we do it? Okay. So we have a 10 of Wands for the past. this archetypal energy has been coming up a lot for me. Without using the cards, I see these symbols in my everyday life. And all of the symbols associated with this card, all of the energies associated with this card have definitely been at the forefront of my mind. And as you can see in the imagery here, it's wands. So it's a suit of fire, of spirit. And it's a 10. So it's not a 9, it's not an ending, but it's a 10. Ending and new beginning. It's about putting the burden down, putting the weight down, and lightening the load so that we can start a new path, so that we can begin a new path of what has to do with fire and spirit, inspiration, passion, creativity. Putting down a huge weight. So for those of you who are tuned in, feel free to leave a comment letting me know, what is it that you feel you've left behind this month? Has a weight been lifted from your shoulders? Has somebody helped you to put that weight down? Have you set it down yourself? What is a huge weight that you're leaving behind? I definitely resonate with this because I had some unexpected closure this week. When I thought I was opening up a whole new beginning to something, it was actually closure that I didn't know I needed. And I feel a huge weight lifted because of that, in a way that, again, I didn't expect. So it looks like we're stepping into this new cycle lighter, more ready to take on the new. Moving forward, we have another 10. So far we have a 10 and a 10. 10 in the past, 10 in the future. So setting down an unnecessary burden. Setting down the weight, lightening our load so that we can move forward toward true fulfillment of the heart. Again, 9s are endings, but 10s are endings with the opportunity to have a new beginning. So what is something that we left behind in this cycle that maybe when we look into the future, the very near future, I'm talking about next cycle, new moon, we can see how lightening that load has allowed us the space to move closer to that heart's fulfillment with ease. It's like, okay, I'm putting down that BS that I've been carrying, that unnecessary drama and stress. I'm putting that down because I realize what's really important is the fulfillment of the heart and relationships, connecting with the people who I love, connecting with my family and my friends. And that thing was in the way, and it was silly because fire, spirit, these can be things that are intangible. So it wasn't necessarily a physical thing in your life, but physical things could have manifested from this burden you were carrying, no doubt. But ultimately, that thing that we put down this past cycle was something that we were carrying in our minds and in our hearts, something that was heavy in our minds and in our hearts. And it's easy to put that down for good when we realize what we're really wanting to move toward is the fulfillment of the heart, completion of the heart. So, again, we have 10 people tuning in right now, and we have a 10 in the past and a 10 in the future. The current challenge is an ace. So far we have a 10, a 10, and an ace. Ace of Swords. And this is the challenge. This is the current challenge. Sticking to our truth, sticking to our authenticity, expressing that truth, remaining the warriors that we are, remembering that we have all of the power that we need to get through any experience and to get through the challenge of the times as we move from the one cycle to the new. Knowing that we have all of the power to do so, and that power comes from connecting to our truth, which hopefully is aligned with that of the divine, the one truth, because that's where real power is pulled from. When we align our will with that of the divine, our truth with the one truth, then all power becomes available to us. Because consciousness is designed in a very intelligent way, where when we align ours, again, when we align our will with that of the divine, We receive all the power we need to accomplish any mission because it's for the one. And the one is self-sustaining. So if you want real power, all you need to do is connect to your ultimate authenticity and truth, which is ultimately one with that of the divine. So even though you're putting something down, even though we put a weight down, we lightened our load, it doesn't mean that we set down our truth along with it, or our truest passions along with it. That stays with us and goes with us wherever we go. And so we have to remember that as we move forward, as we move on to fulfillment of the heart. We don't need to compromise who we are. In fact, that would not do us any good. That would not bring true fulfillment, sustainable fulfillment of the heart. We need to remember that although we are putting certain things down, we're surrendering or sacrificing certain things. Something we never sacrifice is our truth, especially when it's aligned with that of the divine. We can't sacrifice that goodness or that truth because it's who and what we are. And the ally, as we move ahead, is another 10. Another 10. So out of these 4 cards, we have 3 10s and an ace in the center. So we do have also, by the way, with these 4 cards, we have the 3 10s and an ace. But the ace is swords, so that also completes the elements. We have pentacles, we have cups, we have wands, and we have swords. So we have each one of the elements right here in this reading. With just 4 cards, we have each of the 4 elements, and again, 3 10s and an ace. So with the 10 of Pentacles being our ally, it's remembering, this is about remembering as we move through this in-between stage of the final quarter and next week's new moon. Remembering that true vision of prosperity for one and all. What does abundance look like and feel like for you and for those around you, for those you love? Because as we set down that burden and we're moving ahead toward what's really important, fulfillment of the heart, being around those people we love, we have to remember why we're doing it. Okay, so what now? We're all together. We're moving toward this togetherness. What is it for? So that we can build together, so that we can grow together, so that we can prosper together, so that we can build this reality from that space of love and togetherness. And that's what it is. We're in this reality, in this physical reality, where it's about action. Everything already exists in perfect stillness in the spiritual plane, where we're all one. But we're here in this reality of duality, in this plane of existence. It's all about action. So what do we do when we're all together? We realize it's about this togetherness. What do we do? Because we're human beings, but we're human doings. We always are. We're moving. That's why we're here, is to move, to build, to grow. So remember your vision of happiness and prosperity for those beings that you wish to be around, to be together, to be close with. When you move on to that space of love, hold on to the vision of what's going to happen when you get there. A goal. And it doesn't have to be an overwhelming goal of like, okay, well, now that I realize what's important and I want to be around my family and friends and I just want to share in that love and be in that heart space together. You don't have to think about, okay, now what are we going to do? Well, with this person, I'm going to do this. And with that person, I'm going to do that. And we're going to make these plans to do this and that. It doesn't have to be that exact and that detailed and complex. You don't need to sink into all of these plans and go overboard and become overwhelmed. The ally here is saying, just have a vision of these people around you and what it looks and feels like for them to be happy and healthy and abundant. That's all. It's very simple. And these are prayers really that one should do every morning upon awakening, every night as you're falling asleep. And throughout the day when you find yourself in those moments of stillness and prayer, is seeing yourself and those you love happy, healthy, and abundant. So it's simple. You don't need to go too deeply into the details of the situation, but hold on to that vision of prosperity so that when you do move toward this future of being around those you love, and you move toward that space of connecting, you will have already manifested that connection in a way that looks like building prosperity and abundance for each other, with each other. So it's like this is giving us a hint of how to be the most efficient in our prayers, of asking for that togetherness, asking for that fulfillment of the heart, manifesting that fulfillment of the heart. We're going to manifest it in the best way because we're not only going to come together, we're going to come together in a vision where we're all helping each other to build the highest version of ourselves and the highest setting to encourage and support all of our prosperity and abundance and health. So you don't need to get too into it with the visions. You don't need to become overwhelmed. Just feel and see yourself surrounded by the people you love, all healthy, happy, and abundant together. And that is plenty on your plate. That's more than enough to focus on, to hold a vision of, to hold a feeling of. So there you have it. 3 tens and an ace. All of the elements with just these 4 cards here. There's a lot going on. So that's about as much as I've got to give today. Thank you guys for tuning in and for flowing with my roller coaster of inspiration and then not. Peace and love. Aloha. Shalom. Happy final quarter moon, and I'll see you next week for the new moon.